To the How to Write an Essay series. This one is for descriptive writing. So a lot of people ask for this one because people seem to struggle with it the most. Hopefully this video will be helpful, and let's get started. So descriptive writing. Most people find this the hardest to do, as it's hard to be imaginative and descriptive in exam conditions. There'll be two options, so you're going to have to either write a description of the picture or write a story. You're going to be graded on your content and your technical accuracy. And your technical accuracy is your spelling, punctuation, grammar, and vocabulary. So if you're going to be doing the story needs to be engaging and it needs to have coherence and cohesion. Don't rush the story. You don't need to write a full novel. They're going to ask you to write the start, middle, or end of a story, so be prepared. And make sure everything that happens makes sense and flows. Description. Showing the reader what's going on using words. Instead of just saying someone was excited, you could explain that the person is eager with a racing heart. That sounds much better than just saying they were excited. Use your senses. So what can you see, hear, smell, touch, and taste? You don't have to use all of them, but even using 3 out of the 5 will make your descriptive a lot more engaging. So descriptive features. You're going to need to use descriptive language features in order to make your writing more sophisticated. So personification, metaphor, simile, adjectives, hyperbole, and narrative viewpoint. Personally, for a narrative viewpoint, I suggest you do third person, mainly because it will give you more pronouns along with the names. However, that will be up to personal preference. If you want to, you can do first person. There is nothing wrong with that. So where to start, which is the question I get the most. Start by setting the scene. Whether it's a story or a description, you need to let the reader know where everything is set. So, what is the weather? What is the season? Where is it taking place? This may seem unnecessary, but if you decide on where something is happening, then it's easier for you to describe it. Try to choose places that you've already been. Most people have been to a beach, they've been to a park, they've been to school buildings, they've been to hospitals. Set it somewhere where you know you can easily describe it. Character building. So once you've decided on your narrative viewpoint, you need to establish your character or characters. Try not to do more than 3 characters because you have to be descriptive with your characters as well, and it may get a bit confusing. So you need to describe their hair, eyes, skin, body type, clothes, everything. Even in your normal day-to-day life, you describe people as that tall girl with long blonde hair and a red coat. So why not do that in your story? So an example question for a story. You're going to enter a writing competition at your local zoo. Your entry will be judged by a panel of people your age. Write the ending of a story about a penguin. Here's the plan. So we're going to set it in summertime, so it's hot and sunny. The character is going to be a teenage girl who visited the zoo alone. Long black hair, white t-shirt, blue jeans and white trainers. Brown skin and brown eyes. Penguin was walking alone, mirroring the girl in the story. It's going to be a first-person narrative. So here is the example answer. The hot sun was shining down on my long black hair. My once pristine white t-shirt was now covered in unidentifiable marks that had made their new homes on my clothes. My white trainers had, surprisingly, fared better, but it was my own fault for wearing white to the zoo. Making my way to the penguin enclosure, I was contemplating ending my day here. I strolled towards the elaborate habitat made for the African penguins that were the latest attraction. They were frolicking about in the pool provided for them, except one. A lone penguin stood on the highest rock of the enclosure, still as a statue. He seems to be surveying his kingdom, deigning to grace us with his robust presence. His empiric demeanour made him stand out among all the others. Suddenly, he turned to look me directly in the eye, challenging me. The stare made me feel disconcerted and rather uncomfortable. Who knew a mere penguin could make me question my entire existence? What went well? So its excellent vocabulary was used. Interesting and engaging. You could imagine the setting very well. Wide range of punctuation. And sentence lengths were varied and mixed. The only thing I would say is to be careful because the genre is your age group and the vocabulary was a bit advanced. So you need to make sure you always write to the genre that you have been set. But other than that, that was a great example. Here is an example question for descriptive. So you have a pen pal of a similar age to you who lives in another country. In their last letter, they asked you to tell them about any interesting buildings in your area. Write a letter back to them in which you give a description of an interesting building. Here's the plan. Remember, always do a plan. It says at the top of the paper, you're reminded of a need to plan, so jotting down your ideas will never hurt. GAP. So the genre is a letter, the audience is someone my age, and the purpose is to describe a building. So the site, color, size, building, materials, windows, everything I could see on a normal building. The season is going to be spring, sunny but chilly, flowers and cherry blossoms. History of the building, legends or stories to make it interesting. Descriptive features you can use are simile, metaphor and hyperbole. And here is the example answer. Dear Jay, thanks for your letter. I really enjoy hearing from you. You asked about any interesting buildings in my area and I know the perfect one. The tall red and yellow brick facade of the grand mansion adds a majestic feel to the building. The sparkling rectangular windows reflect back the sunlight. Their white wooden frames are spaced out across the front of the building. It has sharp triangular points along the roof and large stone steps leading up to the intimidating wood and gold door. 2 large grey stone lions are on either side of the steps, guarding the entrance into the mansion. The front lawn is covered in tulips, posies and daffodils. 2 beautiful cherry blossom trees in full bloom sprinkle their delicate pink petals, carpeting the floor. I hope this makes you want to come and visit. Yours, D. Again, what went well? So it met the genre of a letter, used 5 senses, wide range of punctuation and adjectives, and imaginative description. This one was a little too imaginative. It focused too much on the description, but it did get what it needed to do out, which is describe an interesting building. So it did meet the criteria of answering the question. So things you need to remember. Adjectives are your friend. The more descriptive you are, the better. Punctuation is key. You know them, so why not use them? Vocabulary. Try not to use the same words again and again. Go for variety. And take the time to read through your work and check that it makes sense grammatically and story-wise. Was this useful? Share, like and subscribe. Leave a comment. And I will see you next time. Make sure to check out some of the other videos in the How to Write an Essay series because they will help you with your language paper too.